everyone. We are kicking off season 11 of MPR with just myself and Owen. We catch up on what we've been up to over the break. We talk about that crazy wild diamond python that was all over social media, some breeding season updates, and we also added some new opening and closing questions for the show that Owen and I go through and answer for ourselves. It's great to be back, so let's get this show started. Okay, welcome to season 11.
Dear
season
God.
11.
Dear God.
MPR. I am excited to be back.
Can't escape. I even tried to die over the break and can't escape.
You did. We will get into this. Owen is trying to escape the MPR contract.
The only way I can.
The other.
The only way I can.
I must leave it. There must be an afterlife that I can pass on to, I hope. But the break is always a good time for me. It's a good idea that we had way back in the beginning. You know, we're so nervous about being like, we're not coming back.
That was my first initial thing is we ain't coming back from the break. And then you're like, hey man, we're gonna start again. I'm like, this motherfucker. Like,
son of a bitch.
This asshole wants to actually make something. What is wrong with this guy?
But yeah, it gives us a break from the show and you know, recharges those things and whatnot. And it's like just enough to like keep you pumped, but not enough to where you don't want to come back.
Don't want to come back.
If it would have been one more week, man, I would have been like, nah.
I don't know. I think we could have done a show with me on the sofa, high on painkillers. I think it would have been a great show. Right up there.
Holiday show 2.0.
Yes, dear. She's can stop listening.
Yeah, and you know, I was looking this up, right? And so most podcasts, they do this, and then they start to have this thing they call pod fade, and it's like when you gradually stop releasing episodes, which Owen and I have seen many reptile podcasts pod fade over the years.
I love it when they come with 2 episodes and they spike up in popularity and they're the best thing ever, and then you never get the 5th episode. Where did they go?
Like they do a bunch of episodes, and then you know, all of a sudden they just fall off the map. They just fall off the map altogether. But you and me, no,
never.
We're a strange breed, my friend. Because usually it's episode 7 that the pod fade begins, but we're at episode 480, and it's good to be back.
Jesus
Christ. Good to be back.
480.
Yeah, no, we're almost at 500. So I know before the break we talked about Daniel and Darren Boswell coming on, but because they're in Australia, we had to record on a Saturday, but Owen's going away this Saturday, so he wasn't going to be there. So I didn't want the first episode to come back
and me be gone.
I mean, to be without Owen.
People would ask questions.
Yeah, you're like, wait, we heard something happened to him over the break. What did you do? Seen a box somewhere.
Nipper would be like, finally, you cut the dead weight. Good for you. And then I'd have to come back and be like, this is awkward. So
I have him in an urn on my shelf. He's right there.
He's back there for when we need him. It's behind glass. Just break in case of emergency.
So I thought that we would catch up on what's going on. I thought it would be cool to talk about that crazy diamond python that was sort of going over the internet over the break. And, you know, one of the ideas that we had is that, you know, those opening and closing questions have sort of been the staple for the past 10 years. And usually, well, it is. No, it's always Owen that asks those questions unless he's not here.
Right.
So Owen came up with some new questions, and we're going to answer those.
Yeah.
And then they will be part of the new. It's not going to be, so how'd you get into reptiles and all that kind of stuff. But
It's going to be one of those, do you push the button and get $1 billion, but somebody on the planet dies?
Yes.
Anybody, anywhere, would you do it?
Yes. This is a tough one.
I'd hit that button so hard. I mean, yeah.
But yeah. So how have you been, man? Let's talk about you for a minute here.
I've been all right. I decided that, I was a little bored over the break and decided to have an organ removed. Looking for kicks.
You rebel.
Just whatever. So my gallbladder exploded.
Yeah.
It was not a fun time. So we were in the hospital. I want to say like we did the break, and then like the next night I was in the hospital. Yeah. So and that was just to get ultrasounded and checked out, and they're like, yeah, it's fucked. I'm like, oh, cool. And then they're like, get out of here and follow up with the surgeon. So about, I want to say it was after Christmas, the Monday after Christmas, I had surgery, and have just been kind of dwelling on the sofa, and I'm still recovering, but it was a fun time. It was a fun way to spend the weekend, the week break between Christmas and New Year's, sleeping on the sofa and, hopped up on some painkillers and stuff like that. But it's really good because you get into one of those situations and you hear from everybody reptile related. Like everyone's like, you need help with this. I had people who were like, hey man, I'm only 3 hours away if you need me. I'm like, thank you for the offer, but what the fuck? Like, need you to come clean some cages, man. Like, no, I can't. Like, thank you for the offer, but it's a lot of that stuff, and you do love that. And also, people were making, some people make you laugh. Bill Stiegel was saying that if he wasn't retired, he'd come up and be my anesthesiologist, which is one of my biggest fears.
Looking at his face,
biggest the last thing I see before I go under is Bill Stiegel going, "You ready?" And be like, "No." And then exactly. And then the problem is that Buddy Buscemi is a nurse, so he'd be the first face I'd see when I wake up. It's like, no.
I thought we got rid of you guys.
Yeah, no. Your show is gone. You didn't even get syndication. Get out of here. But no, so there was that. And also, it's fun to put Jim in these situations and see how he goes.
Okay.
Not well.
Not well?
Well, I mean, he did all right. I'm alive. He did all right. So, because Melissa was away when I needed to go to the hospital. So Jim had to take me to the ER. So that was good. So then for surgery, Melissa had to work. So she took a half day. So he handed me off to her when, we got back, but he was with me throughout the surgery and at the hospital. So we're there and they're like, here's a color coded card and his number that you can track his progress. And Dad's like, it's like you're a Wawa sandwich. I'm like, they'll call your number. I'll pick you up. I'm like, what color are we in now? They're like, he's in between these two things. So kind of a beige, if you will. I'm like, will somebody get this man out of here? Like, it was, yeah.
What did I do in a past life?
What did I do to deserve this bullshit? So,
man.
Yeah, it was fine. And then, but other buddy Francis Pringle, he came over to take care of the snakes, and he did a good job.
Okay.
He did a good job.
That's good.
He can't find a rough scale in a fucking cage, but he did a good job.
He seems to have trouble with those rough scales when he's taking care of.
I'm on the sofa and he's like, rough scale's not in the cage. I'm like, rough scale's in the cage. He's like, it's not in the cage. I'm like, I swear to God. If I get up, if I get up and she ain't, I'm gonna kill somebody. She's fine. She ate, which actually, if you see over in this area, see that little black corner kind of a deal?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's both of them right there. There they are.
Oh, nice.
So the roughies are up here now. I was not allowed to move that cage up here or build any of the new cages that are still in pieces on my back deck because of weight restrictions, lifting, and other things.
Yeah.
It's been annoying.
So my question is, can you drink coffee now?
Well, that's the other thing. They're like, dietary restrictions are good. I'm like, all right. I'm like, honey, let's get some buffalo chicken pizza and take this sucker out for a ride. Like, let's see what we can do before I die. And all that got shot to shit. And I'm like, so, but yeah, apparently, all the issues that I've been dealing with and the like lack of coffee and stuff should not be a problem.
Oh, that's great.
I know, right?
That's good news. That's good news.
I can figure out how to stay awake now without like mind-numbing drugs into my eye.
The thing is like when you really like, I guess my name is Eric and I'm addicted to coffee.
No
yes,
shit.
This is true.
Yeah.
But when you know how much you like something and then you see somebody else that even if they don't like it as much, but they can't have it, you think about what the hell would my life be like if I was in his shoes? No, I don't want to think about it. Stop it.
You've been staring at me for the last 2 years going, how?
Yeah. We're on a herping trip and I'm sipping gum.
You're
just
drinking, like you're drinking the coffee, which is like also blacker than night and looks like it was just scooped up off of like from underneath the car, and you're like, good, yes. And I'm just like, I'm fine, I'll have this, like, whatever. And you're like, how is he awake? Like,
I don't get
alive.
I don't understand. Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that was that.
Most of those problems that you had were caused by that. Well, I'm glad that you figured out, or whoever figured out.
I got a bunch of cool new scars all over me now again. So
nice.
Yep.
Just cover them up with some tats, man. You'll be all right.
Yeah, it's kind of hard in some areas, but yeah, it's fine.
You can make a snake there somehow.
Put a carpet here. It's fine. Yeah.
It's like a carpet belt.
There's that, but the thing is, like, so you're getting ready for. So I'm getting ready for the surgery, and I've got like that nervous kind of energy and stuff like that, where I don't want to think about it. So I'm trying to do everything else to not think about it. So I mean, cleaning the cages, doing all this other stuff. And then I threw animals together because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to when I'm out, and might as well just see what happens, and started dropping temps and stuff like that. So, it was one of those things to kind of at least see what happens. And I got locks from my Brisbanes. Really? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Brisbane male I had, he died.
Oh shit.
Yeah. The one with
the thing. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. I was so coming out of COVID, I really can't smell anymore, which is good.
Oh no.
But it's also bad because if you have a mouse in the cage, it used to be I would smell it before my wife smelled it.
Now Dory finds it. Yeah.
She's like, when are you going to take that dead mouse out of the cage? And I'm like, I haven't fed anything. What are you talking about? She's like, something's dead. And I'm like, no, nothing's dead. Nothing would be dead. And yeah, sure enough, it was that Brisbane.
Damn. That sucks.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? It's part of the thing.
Yeah.
It does suck, but yeah. But I did get that mail from Brandon Wheeler. So
so you're still good there.
Yeah, I just gotta grow it up because it's a tiny little.
It could take a while, yeah.
So back to square one. Okay, all right. So breeding is mostly just carpet stuff at this point.
At this point, yeah, because the colubrids aren't together, the olives are together, but they're not doing anything, and the Timors have been together, and it's cool because it used to be the male would use the bridge and kind of go where he wants to go.
Right.
And the female would just stay in her cage. So he moved over right before there was kind of like some snow flurries and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm like, well, shit, he's not in with the girl. And here comes snow flurries. Like, what the fuck, dude? Get back in there. So I went to go check the female. She wasn't in her cage. She had followed him. Across the bridge into the other cage. So I'm like, and they've been in there for the past month. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Do your thing. So
very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And that's the other thing is I got all this material to make like more bridges and do a lot of this stuff with like the white lips and things, but I'm waiting to get the new cages set up. And I'm like, damn it. I'm like, I want to do this. So
yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So pairings are together. Colubrids are cooled.
Cooling. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to bring them up.
They're not at bottom cool yet?
I've just unplugged all their shit. Like I put them in a rack in the side. Yeah.
I wonder if colubrids are making a comeback.
I know, right?
Plug them.
Oh yeah, dude. I put them all in their own separate 41s in the side room, unplugged their shit, and stop feeding them. And then I'm going to go get them probably February, March, depending on how cold it is, how bad our February, March is going to be. And I'll just start slowly. I'll just plug in the stuff and use the night drop to keep them from going too cold. And I'll start feeding, and then I'll start introductions, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Zach and Matt had a great, I don't know if you happen to listen to it, but if you didn't, you should check it out. It was Colubrid and Colubroid Radio, but they talked about brumation of colubrids and that whole thing, but they kind of went into like, you know, obviously Zach's approaching it from a natural history point of view, but just the experience of those two guys with breeding colubrids was pretty cool. It's just, you know, again, I have no interest in breeding colubrids, but it was fun to listen to and learn some stuff.
Yeah, I love that stuff where it's, and it is one of those things where it I mean, we've gotten to the point with carpets where it's like autopilot. It's like male cage, like, and it's eggs, like, and that's just where it goes. With colubrids, it's like I liked every once in a while I kind of dip in there where I'm like, I don't need to think about it. But then like I miss on the blue beauties, I miss on the crebos and all this other stuff. So it's like I need to actually pay some attention,
right? And
hopefully that does well. Because let's put it this way, you know, if I miss out on some carpet clutches, yeah, it'll suck, but been there, done that. I'd like to get the blue beauties this year. I'd like to get the crebo, but then also olives and Timors and, you know, white lips will throw up there as a Hail Mary. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to kind of get that stuff. So I'm kind of doing the whole what breeds, but then let's focus in on a couple of really heavy hitters too.
Stuff, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've cooled down. We've had some weird weather here, man.
Yeah, it was like 60 degrees the one day, and then Melissa's like, "It's going to be 12 tomorrow." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, like this does not
go well. This is not good.
This is not good python breeding weather. But tonight we have some huge storm coming through, so I guess we'll see how that plays out.
It's supposed to be this weekend too. His whole bullshit and
yeah.
Hamburg is Saturday, and I have to go get some hoppers. So,
oh God.
Yeah, I know. If it's one of those things where I wake up and it's icy and snowy, I'll be like, I'm going back to sleep. I'll go up there later after they shovel. So,
yeah, I was driving to work the other day, and it was literally an ice skating rink. I slid down County Line Road. Like,
that's terrifying.
Down, man. You're like, I white knuckled that bitch all the way to 95.
Then you get the shop right, and you're stabbed at the deli counter. It doesn't make any sense.
It's just been brutal. The other day I was like, do I really want to do this job? Like,
do I want to keep doing this? I mean, my life is in danger.
I'm almost 50. Can I change at this point? Can I do something different?
How many times do I got to say serpentarium before you believe me? You won't get stabbed there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, maybe.
You never know.
Yep.
So I have that, and then I've been working on the first episode of I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but Geckos Radio. I think I probably said that wrong. Phil and Nipper are probably going to punch me right now, but this is basically a gecko focused podcast with myself, Nipper Reed, and Phil Wolf. And by the way, Nipper and Phil had put out their very first episode of Venom Exchange Radio, which is something that they're doing. That's just a podcast focused on professional, responsible venomous keeping.
What the fuck is that?
What did you say?
What? Those words don't go together.
Yeah. So that's cool. When trying to nail that down. The only things that I really did is I moved the blue tongue skink up to that big cage up there. That thing got big, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, blue tongues do that.
Yeah. Apparently the northerns get the biggest of the Australian bunch.
And that's what you got.
Yeah. So beautiful. Really cool. It's cool because you open the cage door because it's like right at my eye height, and it comes with its like little tongue. I'm like, well, you're like a reptile dash hound.
You're like a small little reptile Roxy. It's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I moved. My sister got me a couple exoterrors and stuff.
Nice.
So I moved some of the Oidura to the those geckos into that, which is pretty cool. And now I'm working on the diamond python cages, the Aki cages, and the Kimberly Rock cages. So,
Nice. That's the dangerous thing, because we were talking to Nipper and he's like, Australia CITES is like looking like they're going to start pushing for that thing again. And he's like, if you want anything Australia specific, grab it now. And I'm like, yeah, if I had an area, I'd get a tank and set up some knobtails. Yeah. And then I'm like, no, don't do that. No. It's like, I'm like, you don't have the space nor the time. You need to chill. So
yeah, man. It's I guess people, I don't talk about it that much, but I got I actually kind of screwed them up because it was dark and I turned the lights off, but then I came in here to record this, so I got that one lamp on. But
they're all messed up now.
Yeah, the barking geckos, they're pretty cool, man. They're pretty cool. They're like little savage hunters, man. You put some roaches in there,
crickets in there, and roaches that go right for it.
Yeah, all over it. So, but couple carpets, clutches, or carpet pairings together. Nothing crazy.
Well, no, there is. I mean, if you, I'm sorry, but if you were to fail on all the carpet pairings, but the Yakapuri Depot, I'd still call it a win.
Yeah. The female, she's, I was kind of like, the female is definitely smaller than the male, which always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
But no, I think she could do it. So
I didn't introduce them
yet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then obviously she's put way more size on, and I wanted to get her up a little bit bigger, but we'll see what happens. That would be fabulous to.
That'd be nice. I'd like that. Yeah.
I know you would. But why? I guess that's all I got. That's all you got.
I mean, that's all I got. I mean, like, it's weird because there's not really a lot going on right now. It's like,
it's kind of a slow time.
It's the slow part right now. It's like the highlight is I put males in females' cages, and some of them were okay with that. Like, and that's pretty much it. And I'm at that weird point of the year where I'm like, I have a lot of open cages, and you have to not do that to yourself, because then when spring comes around, you're like, why are all the cages full? and why do I have not room for these snakes? Like, so
I did move quite a few snakes, and it's weird when I like go to like clean, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing in that. Oh, there's nothing in there.
I did that too. And the only other thing I think we might want to hit on a little bit is, did you hear that there's now going to be a new thing that things like PayPal and Venmo and things like that are going to report to the IRS any transaction over $600?
No kidding.
Yeah. So they're going to issue like an end of the year kind of like a statement. So I'm waiting for the reptile world to lose its collective mind. I'm like, is today the day? And I open up Facebook and nothing happens. I'm like, oh, not yet. But it's going to be a lot of that stuff where now people who have a certain number or a certain percentage, and let's all put it this way. I mean, how many people declare what they do as far as reptile shit?
I'd say probably not a lot.
Probably not a lot at all. So now you got that problem of, how do you take payments and try to keep it on the sly? So
give snakes to your friends.
There you go. There you go. So payment plans for everybody is what's going to end up happening. But
that should be interesting. I didn't hear that.
Well, it's I mean, it does transition you to, now there's no, like, you're either a breeder or you're not.
Right.
Yeah. You're and now there's no more of this middle ground crap. Excuse me.
I guess off the surface, I kind of think that maybe that's a good thing. Maybe
I kind of think maybe it's a good thing, but I also kind of think that it's one of those things where you're doing this to jump on the money that people are obviously doing as a side hustle because they don't get paid enough. And it's like, and you're going after that. Like, so that's kind of a dick move, but it's just,
well, the idea of paying taxes,
I mean, there's listen, tax avoidance, tax evasion. My father always taught me tax avoidance is fine, tax evasion is illegal. So so just do what you can to avoid the taxes, but once you get them, you have to pay them. So I would not be surprised if you start seeing more and more people who do reptile stuff requesting multiple payment things, like to keep it below that 600. Like if you have an animal that's $800, just be like, hey, pay me 400 this week, pay me 400 next week, and then we'll set up shipping.
So it's not like a total. It's only one. Any transaction that's over
any
$600.
transaction over $600 will automatically be reported to the IRS. It's like how if you deposit money into your bank account and it's over $10,000, that automatically gets reported to the IRS.
Right.
It's that. We've all now become money launderers. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Huh. I think the reptile world will, they'll lose their shit.
They will do their very best to keep every dime. So, yeah.
The greatest thing about falling into this, just like creating content for podcast, I like just being editing and this and that and all this stuff is like
you're hiding from everything else that's going on.
I don't pay attention to shit, man. And it's the greatest thing ever. If something's important, I'm going to get sent.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to send it to me.
Yeah, true.
Or it's going to be in our chat. So it's not like if anything is worth seeing that I'll see it. So like, I deleted Facebook from my phone. I actually even deleted Instagram from my phone. So I only do it when it's on the computer, which is great because, dude, you just scroll for, forget it.
Become a hermit. You just come out of your hut. You're like, what happened in this world? So bright.
Yes,
what?
It's quite refreshing. Man. It's quite good. Because I don't know. I think sometimes people get lost in the whole idea of like this. I shouldn't say people do. I'm going to say like I always felt like I got more concerned about what was going on the internet than what was going on in my reptile room. And when I started to see me going down that road, I'm like, this isn't what I did this for. This isn't what this is for.
Yeah. I can see that and I hear that. And it's also one of those things where it's like, do I really care that I haven't posted to Instagram, or can I get these fucking cages built? Like, it's just kind of one of those things where, and upgrade and move on to stuff and enjoy the animals a little bit more. Like, dude, I don't know what's wrong with me, man. Like I hatched out that one clutch of the Russian tiger to the Balin tiger this year.
Right.
And that was the clutch where it bombed. Like I don't know why, but those animals never took off. Some would eat and then the next day they'd be dead in the bin and stuff like that. So I have no idea what happened to that clutch, but the two that remained were both males. And I'm like, I need a tiger male. Like I need a fucking hole in the head. Right. So you know what? I'm going to sell these things. And then they kept getting bigger and showing off the colors and stuff. And I'm like, nope. I took them off the website. I'm like, these two, mine. Why I did that? No idea. Do I need them? No. Because I have their father and I have another red tiger male. Like, I don't need them, but whatever.
Yeah, that's always a tough thing, man. It's always been a tough thing for me. You know?
And it's also we talked about this before. I breed for myself, and then I sell the babies because I can't sustain keeping the collection that I want off of my paycheck. So I need to supplement.
Right.
So, I decided to keep an Axanthic Jag and then 2 tigers from this year. And I have still a good amount of animals that I've been selling and stuff like that, but it's still one of those things where it's like, I would keep more if I could. Like I would hold on to this, that, and the other thing. So, but it's not a bad thing, and it also keeps me more interested and plugged into this whole reptile thing. If I did nothing but just take the babies that I hatched and turn them out and sell them all, and just kind of rely on the adults that I have, it's finite. It's till those animals either die or get too old or something bad happens and they can't breed anymore. It's like, in order to keep going and to be excited, I have to find that baby that hatched that really caught my eye and I really enjoyed looking at, like, because when you separate them, you're like, I know in this clutch there are like 3 good ones, like, and they're here, here, and here. Like, if I keep them and I watch them grow, because, dude, the animals from last year are starting to show color, and the animals from the year before are starting to get size. So it's like, now it's every part of my room has something, where this right here, these are the red tigers that Buddy produced.
Right.
Along with some caramels that I produced. Awesome.
Right.
Here is the red jag that Eric produced, plus some caramels and stuff that I produced. And then here are the new babies. So it's like, you kind of follow yourself and you enjoy as everything grows. Because now I got girls going this year, and it's their first year going.
Yeah, I think, I think what I've learned about myself over the last year was probably that I'm more of a keeper to observe behavior than I am a breeder. And I don't mean breeding as far as the act of having snakes breed, but the whole, like, being a breeder to sell snakes, to go to shows and do all this. Like, I don't know. It's just not my, I think it really must be because I just deal with assholes all day long.
Yep.
Like the public as a whole, dealing with their freaking, like their entitled mentality that they think that you're their freaking indentured servant and you have to wait on their every freaking whim and they're always right and all this bullshit. It's just, it's gotten so bad over COVID, man. It's just, I think it just burnt. I can't do it with the reptile part of it. And I'm not saying I haven't even, the thing of it is that I haven't even had that type of customer.
Right.
I just don't want to be involved with that customer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if somebody messages me and they're like, "Yo, you got snake," I don't even answer it.
No calendar? Right question
away.
mark? Yeah. So no.
Yeah. Delete. But I don't know. I think I'm just burnt out from dealing with the public part of it. And the escape I have is to go and, herping in my snake room to where
I don't know. I wouldn't release them all and then go find them again. It's probably a bad idea. I mean,
why didn't I talk to you?
I've created Australia, dude. You just let the Kims out, and that one's eating a gecko. Like, no. So it's
you weren't supposed to eat the barking gecko.
You eat the barking gecko? You threw a diamond at it, and diamond ate them. Yeah, it's just Eventually, the only one thing that would be there would be the diamonds. So, But
yeah, I think for me that's kind of where.
And that's the part of it. It's if doing reptiles becomes as stressful as your job, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
it's not even that it has. Yeah. It's just I don't want it to.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing, because I don't. I could feel myself with the collection that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel myself headed towards burnout.
We've talked about that as how it's like everybody. It's almost like the herping trajectory of your collection is like every guy or girl gets into herps and reptiles and they buy a bunch of shit, and then you find what your little zone is, where you want to go, what your niche is, and then you kind of do that, and then you get a bunch of that stuff and you have success with those, and then some people burn out there, other people keep going, and then you eventually get to like the twilight years of your reptile journey, where all you want to do is just keep the shit. All you want to do is just keep the shit, look at this shit, and then if it breeds, be like, fuck, what am I going to do with all these? And then you find somebody who's in the early part. You're like, will you sell these things? Just get them out of here. And that's what happens. And that we have that happening a lot with like people on fauna and a couple other things like that. It's like, somebody just pops up and they're like, hey man, I do green Sanzinia in my basement. I have like 12 pairs and I just really like them and they keep having babies. If you can meet me at this parking lot, I'll sell you the green Sanzinia. Like, and that's what happens.
Right.
And it's just like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And do I think you're on that trajectory? Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, oh, and I didn't know you kept Kims. I don't. Eric keep breeding, and he doesn't want to do people, so he just drops
just
them off
keeps
at my
giving
house
me
in a box. He said, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just, again, this is just, it's just for me personally, and then like it's like you sort of have, I don't know, I guess at the end of the year I like to reflect on the year and try to set goals for the next year and all that kind of stuff. And I see myself more excited about just observing them and having fun with just being a snake keeper.
It's weird because like you can sit there and be like, I didn't have that. I'm paying off this snake, and when it arrives, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna be all crazy about this thing. I didn't have that this year, but I got more excited finding, the clobber eye and the willard eye and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the herping trips more than like. I got some good shit this year. I got Timors, I got white lips, I got mad hogs. Like, but none of those were like the past where it's like I've finally paid it off and now my albino carpet will be arriving. Like, I didn't have that. So
I don't think I really. I mean, I bought the Kims this year. I bought. I don't think I bought
everything, but lizards.
Ruffies.
I bought lizards.
I did buy Ruffies. I did buy. I got water pythons again. And that's
why did you do that?
Well, it's this whole. I wanted to have the.
And I keep failing.
Australian Python group.
Okay. Good point. That hurt.
It's kind of fun I'm trying to figure out how I can redo my snake room from the ground up with finding somewhere to put the snakes while I do it. So I'm trying to figure out like, how do I do
your
this?
living room's kind of big, man. I mean, like, it's, what? No, those have always been there.
I was thinking about like if it's during if I waited till the summertime, I could probably move them out onto those back two decks and stuff. And
I would
not
do it
outside, but inside.
I would do it early. You're that back thing right off your sliding glass door upstairs, right?
Yeah.
You probably could. I would do it early. Summer, because you don't want to put them out there in August and be like, how the sun hits this place. No, I would do that. And then, you know what? Yeah, maybe. And then
I just think about like having like, electricity where it's supposed to be and like, building like
this is the bullshit where it's like, if I could move back into my house all over again, I would go there. I would be like, no, we're not going to move in. We're going to take 3 months to make the house what I need it to be. Then we're going to move it. Like, that's what I should have done, and
building like racks to fit the space that's there and like, enclosing those racks to where I can put cages in it. So it looks, like zoo quality type of look,
and you can enjoy it and you can have, you might not have as much room for like the number of animals you could cram into the room will probably be cut down.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But what you're looking at and also what you're dealing with, if it makes you happier and it's cooler in your head, fucking do it. You can set up velvet ropes so that any other person can't go too close to the cages.
That's right. Stay away.
I'm walking over, sir.
Excuse me,
sir. We don't touch the glass, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Politely step
away, sir.
I mean, there's you
can do full Philly Zoo where there's a little key and I have to turn it and it's like, hello. And it's just you talking about the Kims. Like,
hello. You may know me from podcasts
of Morelia by the radio.
Or perhaps field chirping podcasts.
There are many, but
I'm Troy McClure.
Exactly.
I've been studying.
Good. I'm glad you've been studying because now if I can't go to California, you're going to have to keep Rob entertained.
Yes. Yeah. And we're, we got 2 herping trips planned and obviously Australia is not going to happen, but
thank God. Cause I knew I was going to, thank God Australia is not like if Australia opens up after the wedding, I got it. But if Australia opens up, it's going to be really hard to keep you guys in the country
Oh,
in
dude.
October.
I'm telling you, man, I have $1,800 in credit just sitting waiting for them to say the gates are open, mate.
It'd be one of those things where, Dory and Tiffany come to the wedding. Where are the guys? Owen, you know where they are. God damn it. God damn
man.
it.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Nipper makes fun of me. He was talking to you too, but I sort of let him down this gecko rabbit hole. Now I broke him.
Ruined him. You broke Nipper.
But he kind of influenced me the same way, and as far as the field herping side of things, and like I really
it was revenge. Then got it
in the exactly.
Yeah.
In the early days, I never really. I mean, it would be cool to see snakes in the wild, but it wasn't something that like I was excited about doing. Does that make sense? You expected
it was cool to see snakes in the wild if they showed up where I was. I would not go looking for them.
Yeah.
Wait,
why would you do that?
You can do that?
I can see them in a deli cup.
Yeah. It's like I would get excited if there was a garter snake or a black rat snake in my backyard. But then you guys are like, we're gonna go look for timbers. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna have to trek all the way up to some we're here. What? Like it's
yeah,
40 minutes from my house. There it is. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you've been to these places and you just start getting it in your head where it's like, if I take 10 steps that way,
right,
what the fuck am I gonna find? So
yeah, I've always been ever since I was a little kid, like going hiking, I guess, is more the finding the reptiles is cool. The hunt is cool. All that is awesome, and actually finding them, photographing them and all. But a lot of it for me is the trip, the camaraderie, especially when you find a good group of people that you get along with and you have a good time with. And like, you want to continue to it's sort of like, I guess it's similar to like, like when we would hang out at Tinley Park or, you know what I mean? It's kind of that kind of thing, the added bonus is you get to go out into the world and see the world and sort of find snakes and reptiles.
It's cool to have these kind of adventure things to just kind of in your back pocket and stuff like that, where it's like, dude, I work in an office. Even though I work from home, I work in an office. So everybody's like, where's your dream place you'd love to go travel to? And every other person is Australia. Yeah. And I'm like, I've been. They're like, have you been to the Sydney Opera House? No. Like, no, fuck no.
Why would I go there?
Why would I go there? It's like, have you been there? No. I was in the bush. I was in the outback. I was in, dingo territory. Like, come on now.
Right.
So yeah, it's that kind of stuff where you can kind of enjoy that and have that. So
there's a certain piece that I like, what's the word? I guess just because my life is so do, right?
Yeah.
That
the rigors of supermarket life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not only that, just everything in general, but when you're sort of like, you can sort of unplug and my phone isn't getting a signal and like everybody else is like, no, my phone doesn't work. I'm like, yes.
And he gets so excited he leaves it on a mountain.
I will not.
Don't need this anymore. It's like, no, Eric.
Yes, you do. No,
yes, you do. Oh, right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When we were sitting, I often think about, I think I've said this in our chat with Keith and Matt, is that, when we were sitting on top of that mountain before the sun was going down, and we were all sort of in our own corners of the,
of the little area there,
and we were just sitting there watching it, and there's nothing for miles and miles and miles, and it's just quiet, it's just peaceful. Oh man, it's great. But what I would give to be back there.
Anyway. Yeah, I don't understand how people live in cities.
Yes. How do you?
I don't understand it.
But yes, so I guess the first thing that we'll jump into is this crazy patternless, reduced pattern looking diamond python that was sort of floating around the internet. So it turns out that the gentleman Craig Perkins, he sent me this pic because he found this snake not too far from his house,
which is awesome,
which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I guess it's it was spotted sort of by the Blue Mountains, just west of Sydney. Okay, so so we were talking about, he said that it kind of looked like what we have here in the States called reduced pattern diamonds.
Yep.
And he was wondering why that they haven't seen them over in Australia in captivity, like why that hasn't popped up the same way that it popped up over here. And the interesting thing is that the Aussie diamond keepers, and this is from him, they really don't keep diamonds from that locality. They say that the ones on the Central Coast are much prettier. So a lot of
I don't know. That's kind of badass to me. I mean, like, that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I would say this: if you haven't seen this, which I'm sure that if you're listening to us, you probably have.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, I would suggest going over to our Facebook page, because I did share the post, and you'll see it's sort of like, it's basically, it looks like a reduced pattern diamond, except Keith had made note that it really doesn't have the striping going down the back.
It looks like it stops. Like, it's got the reduced pattern behind the neck, or behind the head and the neck, and then it just kind of goes from
sort
that
of like
to
that stonewash look, right?
And then it goes to like the heaviest pattern diamond I've ever freaking seen. After that, so it starts reduced and then just goes, it like kicks it up a notch. So yeah. So I was curious about what what Craig was talking about as far as the Central Coast diamonds. So the best way to find wild carpets is to go to the Aussie snake catchers. Just pick wherever locality you're looking for. Yeah.
There's probably going to be a snake catcher in that area. So you go to Facebook, you just type it in. So I found snake relocation. That's, I think they're called Central Coast. What was it called? Central Coast Reptile Relocation or something like that. Anyway, the funny thing is that, like, it seems like every house has a diamond python in it. You hear a lot of people talk about that from Australia, but it really is the case. I sent you some pictures. There's one sitting on a couch. There's one on a kitchen table. There's a couple that the guy found in the yard, and some of them are black and white. And then they have those portals that are like that cream color of a really nice tiger carpet. You know that color?
Yeah.
It's kind of like between the perfect mix of like khaki and yellow. It kind of like, it's not khaki like that.
It's more of like tiger. That off-white kind of a bone. Yeah,
it's really cool. And then some of the other ones, they're yellow, white, and black. And it would have been those ones that in the Morelia Python Forum days, that if we saw that, we would just freak that, like, oh my god, I got it, that's amazing. Dude,
I don't know why, man, but I wanted, I wanted white diamonds as opposed to the yellow ones, and I know that's just like it. I mean, I'll take both. But I'll take both. There's nothing wrong with those.
I think you're. At least for me, it's like, if I wanted yellow and black,
go with the jungle.
Kind of have that with the jungle,
right?
I'm kind of looking at the black and white as
something different.
Right. So I get it totally. But I'm with you. I would take any of them, to be honest with you. But
I think I'd be all right with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was I think there was another one where it must have crawled in somebody's house and it was on their plant and I'm like, this diamond python is gorgeous. What the fuck?
That's awesome.
But yeah, so there was a conversation over in the chat about the snake, because like I said, if it's something that's cool, that people will talk about it. And this is kind of the cool thing about the MPR chat, is that besides all the Bigfoot bullshit, but
Jesus Christ. I get it. Jesus Christ. Find a new hobby.
Oh, and you should just admit that you know Bigfoot is real, and then this
No,
will
it
all come
isn't.
to an
Your
end.
monkey is stupid.
Yes. But Keith was mentioning that the ones, like I said, in the States sort of have that striped type of pattern. It's not really a stripe per se, but it's sort of like you can see where a stripe is starting to form. And
Right.
I sort of said that, carpets are very variable within a clutch. But diamond pythons usually are not.
No,
So,
they're not.
Maybe that because we have a limited gene pool, this is sort of what we get. And that striping sort of comes out, like sort of like striping in any carpet, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's sort of like it's sort of there. So like if you're making a coastal, you're not really going to get,
Well,
you're going
I
to get
mean,
some of those portals and all that kind of stuff and the zipper
right,
down the back and stuff.
right. Well, I mean, let's admit it too. Also, like we can pretty much say that all the reduced pattern diamond pythons are, related somehow.
I would say so.
I would say so
Other
too.
people would say not, but yes, I would
say they have to be. I would say somewhere they have to be, just because of bloodlines and also how many diamond pythons got out of Australia at that time versus like zoo stock and stuff like that. So I would say, because the reduced pattern popped up in the San Diego zoo line.
Yes.
Okay. So, and isn't that the same, like reduced pattern is the same as Stardust, right?
Yes.
Okay. So those two lines are related, and we all know that animals from the San Diego Zoo could also potentially be related to other zoo line animals because the zoos all got their diamond pythons at the same time. Weird. Like,
yeah.
So
how dare you, sir?
I know. I'm doing this, and no one's going to talk to me. But whatever. So it's kind of like that, where I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that you are working with a limited gene pool and you are working with related animals. So things like this stripe and stuff like that could be something that we say is, part of the reduced pattern diamond python. Now, is that just part of the reduced pattern diamond python out of the U.S. bloodlines that it came out of? Like, is this kind of how it started necessarily?
Yeah, I don't know. And the weird
taking that and breeding it to other diamond pythons. Say they took this animal that they found and bred it to other diamond pythons. Would you eventually get something that looks like our reduced patterns?
I don't know. I would think you would.
I think you'd get close. Yeah.
I think that's pretty goddamn close. I mean, really the neck.
Yeah.
Lack of patterning in the neck and the high yellow that it comes up like that is really what I think of when I think of reduced pattern. I know a lot of people think of the fact that it doesn't have the rosettes and all that kind of stuff, but for me, it's sort of the same thing that you see in the stonewashed Bredli. It's like they sort of have that neck that the neck is, the pattern on the neck is sort of gone or very light, or
right.
It just looks very strange, So I did ask Craig, I was like, so are you guys allowed to like apply for a permit and take a snake like that?
Yeah, can you grab that sucker?
It's like, no. And so I told him, I was like, damn, that really sucks because, herping here in the States, I mean, obviously we have laws.
Like, I mean, we have laws, but we had all the permits in Texas. So if we saw something we liked, it was coming home.
Yeah.
But
if you saw some crazy, whatever, you could take it, I guess, if you wanted to.
I mean, within reason.
But yeah, so that was sort of where Keith was coming in, and Scott had suggested that this was a hyper pattern and not reduced, and diamonds are black snakes with yellow flecking and rosettes.
Okay.
But our chief geneticist over there in the chat,
Dr.
Travis Wyman, Dr. Travis Wyman,
doctor.
chimed in, and he said that he slightly disagreed, and that carpets are like zebras, where developmentally the black pattern is laid down last over the light base color. It would be white in zebras and yellow in carpets. But
he's talking zebra horse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I should clarify that because
works like a zebra, and carpets are like zebras. Zebra carpets? No.
Yes,
no.
You're right. They are.
You are. They are like that. Yeah.
But he did agree that the hyper pattern type of thing exhibit or express more black than the standard diamond python does. So, Scott was saying that they all showed an increase in yellow pigment, but a decrease in rosettes. So whatever increases the yellow may also affect the rosettes. So, it's kind of,
it might be like,
things.
again, where it's like, that's the gene,
kind of like the jag, right?
Yeah.
You get the yellow, but you get the neurological issue as well.
That is a problem, but that's the gene. It increases the yellow and tones down the rosettes. So this animal has an extreme version of that, and it might be something else, which is where the reduced pattern comes as far as the neck goes. So yeah. Either way, it's badass. It would be like the crown jewel of my collection if I had it in my hands.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God. I need diamonds. No, I don't. God damn it.
Well, that was your one. I think one of your questions were what should you have gotten into early
what
on?
Was the one thing? Yeah.
Diamond pythons.
Diamond pythons. All this shit. Yeah. There's a lot of those questions. And as I was writing them, I was just like, fuck.
Yeah. But so you should definitely check it out. And if you haven't seen it, send me a message and I'll send you a picture of it so you can see what I'm talking about. And I'll share those other ones if you want to see some of the Central Coast stuff too. Just send me a message and I'll hit you up. I'll send them over to you.
I love the diamond python in the plant. It's just,
isn't that cool?
That one ate something clearly.
That one is gorgeous. The one that's in that little hen
like rabbit
thing.
hutch. I'm pretty sure it killed whatever was in there.
But it looks like it's about to shit it out, right? It's kind of went down fast, right?
Well, I mean, depends on how long it's been hanging out in there. If it was like something where it didn't need to be checked on, or if they went away and then they came back and the guinea pig they left outside is dead. I love the one sitting on the sofa like it's supposed to be there. It's like, what? What?
Yeah. The crazy thing about that picture was that they take a far away picture and that's what it is. It's just like a living room and there's this
diamond python sitting on a chair,
sitting in the sun on the right by the window on the chair.
It's like, oh hello. Yeah. That thing is beautiful though.
Yeah, super nice. But
you need to breed reduced pattern diamond pythons so I can sit there and be like, I don't need them. How'd they get here?
Take these. They would fit right in with your colubrids. Just saying.
Are you kidding? No, I got look, there's room up on top of that cage right there.
Oh yeah,
it's not all the way up at the ceiling. They can be right over there with the roughies. Yeah,
no doubt.
A place of honor. Yeah,
100%. All right. So your new questions, how you want to do this? You want to
I think
say the question and answer it, and then I'll answer it, or
we can do that. So the first one was what defined why you specialized in a certain genus or species? Is the first one. So it's hard to answer because like what defined it? Well, my roommate had carpet pythons and they were cool, like, and then it was like, and then
if I only know,
and then that just steamrolled. The issue is like I wanted jungle carpets to begin with, and then there were no jungles available that I could find within my poor college student price range, so I got into coastals, and that just snowballed it from there. But the reason, what defines why I specialized in that genus is because those animals became bigger, they became longer, they became bulkier, they got those giant python-like head, the Australian python-like head that every other person in my entire school was like, look at my ball python. And I'm like, as I have this jaguar carpet python, like I'm like, fuck you and your little tiny shit. Like, and that's what came to it. And then you can see that progressing in all the other species that I got into. The big, the not easily bred, the somewhat of a bad attitude. Like it's all that stuff is what it goes into, is that I don't want something that is going to just be, if I wanted a pet rock, I'd get a pet rock. You
You want
know,
a challenge.
exactly. I want a challenge. I want to be when I breed something. I want to have a fit in my room because it fucking bred. All right, like I want to have that moment. If I see something like right now, it's really cool because you can't see him, but my rough scale is sitting over there, and he's
Right.
on top of his bin, and his head's hanging down just a little bit. And various points of the day today, when work has been bullshit, I've turned, and there he is, and it's like, there's my rough scale. Like, and he's awesome. Like, that's badass.
Right.
So, and that's the whole point. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say similar to you. I think when I mean, in my early days, I just kept whatever you could get. You know, I mean, that's just kind of how it was in the '80s. Whatever was there, you just.
Between the two of us, I think we've kept almost every single python species that you could think of, except for like, some that aren't here. But yeah.
Yeah, there have been a few, but pretty much, I mean, we've covered the gauntlet. And, as I've gone through and I've worked with all those different ones, the idea of working with them all is cool, and it's like, why wouldn't you want to work with everything? And I think this complete the set mentality type of deal and all that kind of stuff comes into play. And it's like, well, if this python is cool, then this python must be cool and this one must be cool. But for whatever reason, I just kept getting sucked back into the carpets. And when I was getting into Morelia was not just carpets and chondros. It was carpets and chondros and bolins and scrubs and Owen Pellies and roughies. I mean, it was the cool, what I considered the
cool shit,
the cool kids, but they're the outcast of the, you know what I mean? They're not cool enough to be at a reptile show. They're not cool enough to sort of
you skip over their table because it's not fucking corn snake without its scales. Like, yeah, all right.
You're not necessarily selling them for $10,000 a piece or whatever.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's different now, but at the time it wasn't, and it's sort of like, but the group of people that kept them and these animals themselves were fucking cool enough for me, man. I didn't need any more. And, once I got into them and I especially with carpets, just how, easy, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Just, they just, I don't want to say to keep her error or whatever, but like they're just really bulletproof. You know, I mean, they're just bulletproof. They just adapt. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
Well, and also you're able
just
to
adapt
hit,
easy.
You're able to hit the strides and those goals and those things. Like, you're able to produce a clutch of carpet pythons relatively easily. Yeah. When you're a brand new keeper, that's freaking awesome. Yeah. Like, I imagine that if it was difficult, a lot of people would have quit on it. Nobody ever starts out and their first couple snakes are white lips because you never fucking breed them. So,
right.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of ourselves in questions.
Yes. But like, I fast forward to today and I think of like, there's a couple species that's like a lot of people that are into pythons don't even know that there's an Owen Pelly python. You know what I mean? They don't even know that that's a thing. Like, and for us to not only have seen one in a zoo, not only to have held one from Gavin Bedford's breeding stock,
dude, I didn't know he was writing a book on care and keeping of Owen Pelly pythons. Like, he knows that he's going to stack a box full of those books and that they're coming here for you, me, Keith, Rob. Like, it's if I'm not involved in that purchasing of those books, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
Oh yeah. Well, don't worry. I will, even if it's me, I'm just going to buy a whole shit ton of them.
Just do it. Just do it.
That,
just do it.
You guys all want one.
God.
But then to see a wild one.
Yes.
I mean, to me, if I wouldn't have taken that journey and started liking those snakes, I
why
never
would we
would
be
have
in Australia.
Yeah. Why would I have done that? And I don't know, man. It's just a cool thing. But but with the scrubs, with the bolins, but they were all cool and all, but it was really the carpets that sort of did it for me. And
if somebody
to you, they're arboreal, the big chunky head.
Yes.
That the adaptability in captivity and just the variety of color and pattern that you can get with these things is just nuts. And I know we have a limited gene pool, and I just think of like what we could possibly unlock if we didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
it's one of those things where, and I'm sorry, Keith, but if somebody sat me down and they said, you can have this pair of Bolini or this pair of Owen Pelly Pythons, I will pick the Owen Pelly Pythons every single time. Every single time.
That's a special snake to me.
Dude, if I could get them, I'd already have them. Like it is,
For so many reasons, but that, I mean, we all say it all the time, but that trip was just the trip of a lifetime. And I don't think that I know when on my deathbed, I'm going to be glad that I was able to get on that trip. I didn't miss that.
I don't care if I'm 70.
I'm glad you didn't miss it either.
Thank God, dude. Whew. Dude, listen, if Owen Pelly Pythons finally make it to the U.S. and I'm in my 70s, I'm going to start figuring out where I can keep them, how I can do it, where I can set up the cages.
That's all I'm going to have.
Yeah, that's all I'll do. Just them. Yeah. Nope. So.
But what can I say? And so that's why I specialize in a genus. So.
Yep. All right. So next would be, why do you keep snakes as opposed to things like geckos, monitors, and other things? This is a question not really built for you because
I've been broken over the last year.
I don't know what happened to you. But for me, like, I would say that I've tried a lot of things. So I've tried monitor lizards, and the issue that I have is that the monitors that I tried I don't think I could have kept them the way they should be kept in in what I have going right now. Obviously, if I had the space to set them up the right way, I would have never gotten rid of my mangroves and stuff like that. Like they're badass animals, but I was not prepared for those things, and I did not have the stuff in there. So I picked what I could keep, and those are the snakes and things like that. That being said, I tried monitors. I'm good. I'm really good when it comes to monitors. Maybe Kim's, maybe down the road. I would need to have several severe head injuries before I start dipping back into monitors. Geckos, I never liked dealing with bugs. I never liked dealing with crickets.
Neither did I.
Roaches. I can't. No. Can't do it. And the thing is, I dated girls who had geckos and stuff like that, and they had to do it, and I hated get crickets and shit like that. I hated it. That's also probably why I didn't end up doing poison dart frogs. I would love a giant tank full of leucomellas, like the black and yellow.
That's what my dad had.
Poison dart frogs. I would love that. Yeah. I fucking hate fruit flies. I fucking hate them. I hate them so much. I can't do it. So that's probably why I didn't do that. I settled into species, because it's not just a species, but different species that work with what I wanted to be as far as a reptile keeper. And some animals don't fit into that even to this day. Like there are certain ones where it just doesn't work over here for me. And that's not because of the snake. Snake's what it is. It's because of me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, snakes will always be my favorite. I just think because they're just so different than us. They don't have legs. They don't have arms. They don't have, you know what I mean? They
easily defeated by duct tape. Yeah.
It's just this, how do you survive, and just their ability to just, I don't know, man. It's like watching Circus Olay in nature or something, I mean, it's just like from branch to branch effortlessly. And you're like, how does this even happen? I don't know. But, why, like you, the bug thing for me always sort of kept me away from the lizard side of things. And oddly enough, I've had quite a bit of lizards throughout my life. It's not like I haven't worked with lizards before. I've had iguanas and monitors and geckos,
but we don't have frogs. So Chinese what kept us from frogs and toads? Like what's or turtles? I
don't know. Turtles. I never got into.
What stopped us from getting aquatic turtles? And I'll tell you what.
Oh, I could tell you.
Aquatic turtles. That's what kept us. Yeah.
But I think too, like whenever you would go whenever I would go as a kid on like a hike or a herping hike or something like that, those were the animals you would find. You would find a box turtle. You would find a toad. You would find a salamander of some sort or a frog or something. But it would be next to impossible to find a snake.
And a monitor lizard. Yeah.
Or, you know, so, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to them or whatever. But I'm quite enjoying the Noah's Ark type of situation, if you will, at the moment, and sort of keeping what I dig, you know? So, yeah.
Cool. And then we'll just say, did you have a role model or mentor when you first started?
Are you asking me?
I mean, that's the next question. So, I started both feet jumping into the deep end. So I got a Cal King, and it was learning as you go, which is stupid. That's not how you should do it. That is a terrible idea. You need people to show you things. Yeah. Don't do as I did, children. So,
yes.
But Jason Balin was always there helping me out, you know, talking me through stuff, taking pity on me on my first couple shows when I was sitting there with my little gray babies and shit like that. And that's just how it goes, where you find people that you can kind of gravitate to and you can kind of have these conversations with. So you eventually start getting better and better and better and more plugged in. But I would say that most of my formative years as a reptile keeper were lurking on the MP forums. So I had a lot of role models because that's where everybody was. And by some horrible twist of fate, got to interview them and talk to them all as
crazy, right?
Yeah, it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Did you ever think when you were like typing away on the forum?
Yeah, well, no, dude, I never typed away on the forums. I didn't say shit on the forums.
Oh, you were the lurker. Yeah,
of course I was.
You were a lurker. Yeah.
I had like 8 carpet pythons, and I thought I was hot shit because I had 2 jaguars. Like, no, come on. I'm gonna ask Mr. Mutton a question.
Yeah. Hello.
As he's gonna take a break from yelling at various other people to answer my question. No, I'm gonna.
Am I yelling at you?
No,
Mr. Mutton, you're not.
Did you buy anything from me yet? No, God, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know about zebras. Zebras. Well, you want to know
They're
about
from
zebras?
Africa.
Yeah, Africa.
What
They're
do you
horses.
know about zebras?
Get out of here. Yeah, no, it's so I shut up and I listened and I watched. So, but there was that really helped form and a lot of stuff like that. So that it's weird because you can't really pick. I didn't have one person who like took me under their wing and showed me how to breed, how to do this, how the other thing. I had multiple. You know, I had people teaching me like Will Leary and Anthony Caponetto and Nick Mutton. They didn't know they were teaching me, but
100%.
But that's where I learned it, and that's where I learned all this stuff. And
I didn't even think of it. I didn't even think of it from that point of view about like the multiple. Doing the podcast, you're talking to all these different people that we've sort of looked up to. And then you realize that they're normal people, and then like
it's the weirdest fucking shit in the world,
you
dude.
know what I mean? It's like you paint this picture that there's somebody that's like I don't know,
dude. No, you try to not you hold it up there, and then you're sitting down and you're having a beer with these guys and gals later on, and you're like, what the fuck? How the fuck did I get here? Like,
what did I do?
What am I doing here? Like,
right.
Like the first time we were like, oh, we're all going to go over to across the street at Tinley at this restaurant. We'll have a dinner. And they're like, we're going to have to clear the back room. Like, why? Oh, shit. There's a lot of people here.
Yeah. This was a weird one for me too. And I sat on it and whatnot. And I think like there's many people that I look up to. There's many people that I consider a role model. But I think as far as somebody that really taught me, not necessarily about a reptile, but how to think about keeping reptiles so that you can apply that. So it's sort of the idea of teach someone to fish as opposed to giving them a fish.
Right. Gotcha.
That kind of deal. And I would probably have to say Rob, Rob Stone.
I attempt to emulate Rob Stone. I'm going to get suspenders now and just.
Right on.
Yep.
I think the next Serpent trip I would be.
We're all going to wear suspenders.
I might rock that, man.
Yeah.
He ain't wrong because I'm pulling my pants up the whole goddamn trip. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's like, come on, man. What are you waiting for?
He's all like, you guys look like morons. It's like, all right, well, fools.
Rob never flinched. His pants stay up all the time. What's your secret? These, my friend. Snap.
Also, he gets this walk around and be like, I'm not a big city lawyer. And he snaps them, but
Yeah. But funny thing about me meeting Rob is that my first introduction to Rob was listening to him on Reptile Radio. And he talked about rhino rat snakes. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like, it's like, it's that interview. Like, I think it was the first time I heard Nick Mutton on Reptile Radio as well. Right. When I heard Terry Phillip on Reptile Radio, like, their knowledge is just like, what? Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What's going on here? Who is this person?
And they just roll with it too. Like, you're like, can you just slow down, please? Because I don't know what the fuck you're saying. And he's like,
so I don't know. I'm not sure when, but I knew about Rob, and then we started MP at the MPR. And I think at the time he was a huge Reptile Radio fan, like I was. And they kind of they had pod fade and they're not here no more.
Nope.
But
outlive them for those were our first victims.
But no, I guess he contacted me about the podcast or something, and we just started talking. And I think there's probably, I don't think there's a week that goes by that me and Rob aren't on the phone talking about just different things and stuff. And in those conversations, that was sort of the idea of Student of the Serpent, is I just wanted to try to capture that phone call.
Yeah, it's good also because Rob he's dealt with everything. He's handled everything. He's kept everything. So numerous times I'm like, dude, is this thing a good idea? And he's like, no. It's like, okay. Thank you.
And even though you push back on him, like,
thank you for being honest. Like, it's just like, but it's just one of those things where it's like he can, you think that you're dipping your toe into this pool, and he's been in there already. Like, he knows where to go. He knows what's going on with it. So, yeah. Yeah.
And he has, like you said, the knowledge it just impresses me all the time. It's just, something that I try to get on that level. And, sometimes I feel like, especially when it's like him and Keith, and I'm like, how am I even here?
Thank you. Thank you.
It's him, Keith, and Justin, and you're just like,
well, that was the entire freaking trip, dude. That was the entire freaking trip to Arizona. It's him, it's Keith, it's Justin.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
And then
I
it's,
left you in the lurch, bro.
Oh God, I'm forgetting his name. But the guy from the zoo, and I'm like, good.
Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's those four guys and Owen. Like, it's cool. I'm glad I'm here. What the fuck have I done? Like, I've got several authors, Owen Pelly Breeder and Blood Python God. I've got this guy who's like, oh yeah, yesterday poking a Komodo dragon in the eye. Cool. There's my dumbass where it's like,
I bred coastals.
There's probably a snake over there. Like, it's.
But the crazy thing is that we say that, but they don't make you feel that.
Right. I know. It's all in my head. That's why I'm like, I gotta find something. I have to find something, because if I don't find shit, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah. What's my purpose?
To find a snake. If I find a snake, I've earned my keep. I'll get invited to the next one. Yeah.
I don't think I've found any snakes in the States. Did I? I don't think I have.
Dude, I was so happy I found that club. The club. Because I'm like, yes, I did it. I've won.
Point for me.
Yes, it's good. I'm good. They won't leave me here.
Yes. I've had enough of this, man.
Throw him out.
So but yeah, I mean, I could say in all of our immediate inner circle is all role models and mentors of people that, you know, we talk to on a daily basis.
I don't think you should ever stop learning.
No.
And evolving. You're keeping methods. The way you see your snakes. Like, dude, I've been buying chicken wings like nuts. Like, we're talking like the full joint chicken wing, like the big, like looks like it came fresh off the bird, because I've gotten carpets and everything to eat that stuff, and that's a big meal. So I'm like, cool, it's way cheaper than a rat, but I'm not just doing that. So
right. I heard Owen.
Owen just feeds just chicken wing. No,
jumbo buffalo wings.
It's a supplement. It's not all the time food, but you know, you have to be able to be open up about this stuff. I got animals eating fish. Mike Curtin dropped off a bunch of fucking trout. I saw a Crebo eat a trout. It's the weirdest shit you've ever seen.
Wow, that would be weird.
There's a lot of blood in a trout. I was not aware of that.
So, wow, that's crazy.
It's you have to be open to this kind of stuff, and that's how you evolve, and that's how you move on. So yeah,
100%.
And that kind of rolls into the next question: is what is the one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started? And what I know now, and that what I wish I knew when I started, is that number one, bad things are going to happen.
Yep.
And it is not your fault.
Yep.
These are living animals. Yeah. Sometimes they choose to not be living animals.
Yeah.
You can do everything correct, and your favorite animal is going to die.
Yeah.
Happens to everybody. You know, and that's just one of those things where you have to decide whether you're going to keep doing this or not. And then the other thing I would say is that your snake does not need to eat a European albino rodent as a food source. It can eat a lot of other things.
Right.
You don't need to force feed a baby carpet because it doesn't eat a fuzzy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, dude, I've gotten into that headspace of what will you eat? I will provide it to you. We're talking live quail, fuzzies wrapped in gecko skin. Like, it works, and it's so much easier just to find what the snake will eat and provide it than to force it to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, fortunately, with a lot of the species that we keep, they only eat those odd things when they're babies.
Mm-hmm.
But when they become adults, they do eat.
They rock and hit everything in sight. Right.
Mammals and, you know.
You just got to push them a little bit. And here's the thing. You get them going, and then you skip a week, and then you come in with a fuzzy, and I guarantee you they're like, food. And that's what you got to do. So, I mean, the red jag downstairs that you produced, it was eating fuzzies with you. Yep. It came over here, refused everything.
Right.
Ate 6 goldfish and has been hitting every single rodent I've ever put in front of it since the goldfish.
Okay.
But it just needed to get over whatever block it had in its head.
We did the reverse of the getting them to eat in the car ride.
We took it a car ride and then it broke.
We broke it.
It happens. So that's what happens. And I'd rather figure stuff out like this than sit there and be like, what you have to do is take the head of the fuzzy and jam it in the fucking animal's mouth. Like, you know, it's...
Yeah, I did that.
I did that too. I have the pinky pump. I'm going to frame it. I'm going to put it in a shadow box and be like something that will never be used again. Like, it was used once, never the fuck again.
Right.
So, yeah.
For me, I would say that a big thing for me is not to get caught up in the morph game. I think I kind of got sucked into that. Not that again, I'm not anti-morph. I'm not whatever. But I think with me, where I sort of really kind of screwed up with that is that the whole idea of getting everything.
Mm-hmm.
And not really understanding what that implies as far as commitment, as far as time.
Mm-hmm.
And, as soon as the next thing would be in the works, it's like I forgot about the thing that I was excited about for the year before.
Right.
Because now I'm worried about the thing that I don't have.
Yep.
And where I'm losing focus is that my hobby has become the hunt rather than the keeping part of it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish that I would have, if I were to do the morph thing again, like really go balls to the walls, I would pick a project. And that's sort of what I'm doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of working on tigers. I mean, I remember if you listen to the very early episodes of MPR, you and me both said about wouldn't it be awesome to have a table at a
of
show
every single tiger,
every type of tiger, red tiger, citrus tiger, Balin tiger, Russian tiger,
Xanic tiger, caramel tiger, hypo tiger.
And I think a lot of the successful people that are in any type of morphs have done that, right? I think of John Battaglia with the Diamond Jungle Jags. I think of Mike Curtin with the Ocelot Jags. I think of who else would come to mind? Well, even like
Eric
the new
with the Reds,
right? Balin with the Reds,
Balin with the Tiger stuff that he's got going on. Yeah, man. Like there's a bunch of people that really kind of zone in on one thing, and that's
they fucking
they kill it, and then people will like line up for their shit every year.
Yeah, I think of Martin, right? Martin Rosemond, like he's sort of taken the torch for John Battaglia, if you will,
and stuff like that.
He's doing all that Diamond Jungle stuff, and like I get this idea that his collection is enormous, but like I don't think his collection is anywhere near the size of. It's this whole idea of like what you see online, and it's just like, he's producing amazing animals, and you're just like, wow, okay, all right, Michael Pennell with his coastal carpets, and I mean, I could go on and on and on, but like again, it's just like Luke Snell with his IJs and Yasser and all that stuff, But I wish I would have did that. I wish I would, and that sort of is the same thing as like wishing not appreciating what I have at the moment, rather than being not that you shouldn't be planned ahead of what's coming next or what you would like to add or what your dream list species are or whatever, but sort of just getting focused on worrying about the next thing. And it's like, yeah, but a year ago, my perception would have been that this is the next thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I have a roughie. I have an albino carpet. I have, it's like, wait.
No, you have a rough scale python. Pay attention.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's sort of mine.
Yep. So next one is, what is the coolest reptile moment? Breeding, herping, or keeping? So breeding.
That's easy.
Breeding. It is when I have bred animals that I produced their grandparents. So
that's pretty cool.
Herping, duh.
Yeah, you and me have the same answer, I would imagine.
Keeping, when I figure out something cool about the species, like, dude, I know I've got to be pissing several people off with this whole Timor bullshit of like, they're using their tunnel. Like, I mean, it's. But it's just,
but that's cool.
It's cool to me because then it's like, why are they doing this? What's going on? Why did they want to be over there? They're both doing things together. Maybe because they're together, she'll ovulate and he'll be right the fuck there. Like, it's one of those things. So I'm really enjoying that. So I would say those are the three there.
So obviously breeding, maternal incubation was doing that as my first clutch that I've ever produced and just going right into it. 100%.
Right.
Can't say it went as well with the second clutch, but the first clutch
it did all right.
Huge success. And wow, watching life just hatch out.
Yeah.
In your snake room, is pretty cool. Obviously, the herping is the Northern Territory trip in the OP. And the keeping part of it, yeah, I would probably. I would probably have to say up until this point, I'm going to say before having the monitors and stuff, is just the whole watching the behavior of diamond pythons when they would like know that the light was going to go out, and they would go bask under that light to soak up some heat, and like, you know, they would come out before the light went on or during the day. And, you know, to me, that just fascinated me. And the fact that they're out and about at 50 degrees, like, where's
what are you doing? Yeah.
Like,
where are you going? Yeah.
Why don't I have more of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next is, what species would you keep if you could only keep one species? Roughies. Roughies. I mean, I want to say roughies, and I will say roughies. But if you had to say like that was it, you couldn't do anything else, I'd probably do diamonds. Just because you can have variety and you can have fun with diamonds, and there's a mix with that stuff, and then they can also do like the unplug, drop everything, and leave. But you know, if I had to get rid of all my shit today, the only thing that would not leave the house would be the rough scales.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for me because I'm sort of torn between inland carpets and diamonds, but I probably would have to say there's a lot of talk about the superior Morelia and all.
It's a rough scale. That's what it is. Shut up.
No. Diamond pythons are hands down the superior Morelia.
You have a head injury.
I mean,
yeah.
They're just they're freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen an ugly one.
Even the dark, like,
yeah,
that's a fugly one. It's still beautiful. It's still awesome looking.
Inland's come a close second because I just think that they're such a cool species and
you can
super
do a lot
underrated.
with.
And they're so cool, and they're very similar to the diamonds that they're kind of tolerant. If I were to pick a species that's just a lizard, if you said to me only a lizard, Kimberly's, no doubt.
Okay,
yeah, 100%.
All right. Which species have you tried to breed and failed the most? White lips. I have tried numerous times with white lips and failed miserably every single fucking time. But I'm gonna keep going. Macklot's pythons. Can't get those. Water pythons. Can't do that either. It's like just
For me, it's been diamond pythons because all those weird species that you're talking about, I never held on long enough to get to that breeding size because I've realized they weren't for me.
Well, what kills me
long before they grew to adults.
What kills me is that if I could just get the goddamn max, if I could just get an adult female, I could get this done. But every time I get a girl and she gets up to size, it's like cancer. I'm like, God damn it. Or she gets egg bound and dies. Like I have had, or she's a male. Like I've had 4 females for Glitch over the years.
So I gave you Glitch in 2012.
I know when he showed up.
And
I got that one. I got the first female for him within 2 weeks after getting him. And they were both not of size, so I raised them up. And then I moved out here in 2014.
Right.
2 years later. And when we got here, about a month later, she dropped the slug clutch. And then she died.
Yeah.
So that was the first one. Then I got him another female. That one turned out to be a male. So then I got another. Then I got a baby female from Dennis, and I spent a couple years raising her up. And she was on the cusp of getting ready to roll when I noticed there was a giant lump in the side of her, and had her taken to the vet. Cancer. So she died. So now I have another baby female that I got from Nick that I'm raising up. This is like the 3rd or 4th goddamn Timor Mac. And what kills me is that there have been numerous times where I see like an adult pair of Macs or something cheaper, and I'm like, oh shit, and I go jump on it and they're sold. Or they're piss me off every time. At this point now, I've told everybody at Hamburg shows, if a Macklot's python comes walking in that door, somebody better fucking call me. So
That's a good thing about being on MPR, right?
Bring my own probe kit, and I'll be like, "Girl, good, put it in a bag." Like it's
Yeah, unlike you, I haven't had, like I said, I really like you have a short window of time to be with me and sort of figure out if we're going to work together.
I love how that happens, and it's that short window of time, and then they're over here forever.
Yes. Nah, this ain't gonna work.
Yep.
Next.
Which I gotta visit you and grab some other shit. So,
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think for me, diamond pythons are really the only, and it's not. I'm not. When I say that, it sounds like, oh yeah, I breed everything that I try, but I really only really bred carpets. So I mean, diamonds are really.
You haven't tried anything else that you haven't like.
No.
I mean, I don't think your scrubs were old enough to try.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
And then I lost the boy. Similar to you, it's the same type of thing, right?
Yeah.
You have these projects, and it's like you buy a pair, and it's like when you're doing that, you're just rolling the dice type of thing, because you got to basically wait 4 years, and by the time those 4 years, who knows what's going to happen?
And it's really shitty if you take 2 years and then you go to pair them together and they combat, and you're like, mother.
Yeah.
And what kills you is that if I had just gone and bought like 4 fucking females when that first adult died and just raised them all up, like 4 babies, like found them, bought them, raised them, no problem.
Again, this is like part of those conversations with Rob, right?
Yeah.
He talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
If you're going to do some of these harder to breed, I want to say harder, but like not figured out.
Not as easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not like it's magic or anything, but it's just,
it's not a cookie cutter. Yeah.
Right. It's, like to your point earlier, you just said, like, you put carpets together, pretty much you're going to get eggs. It's kind of like,
when I moved, I'm like, I'm not going to breed, but I put animals together. I got 2 clutches. I'm like, all right. Like,
right. But with some of these other ones, you if you're relying on just a pair, you might have trouble. And even with the whole idea, like you look at Rob with his tree boas, right?
Just Jamaican boas.
Or the Jamaican boas or whatever, but like those tree boas in particular,
right.
That, I remember when he was breeding them, and she's pregnant for like, I don't know, it's like 200 and something days. You know what I mean? And he's just like, I don't know if she's pregnant or not, and and he puts 2 males and stuff together with the female, and all these things that he's done from just, again, he told me this too. Eric, what are you doing? You need a smaller collection so that you can enjoy this, and stop messing around with this bullshit and get a smaller collection and put cages and do all that. He's been telling me, Eric, you need, if you're gonna get monitors, get Kimberly rocks, and it's just like
a smaller collection in bigger cages makes everything so much easier. And also, like, dude, I don't want to be downstairs scrubbing. Like, dude, I've had over 200 animals before. That's a whole fucking day. Like, it's also, it's a full fucking freezer and a bunch of other shit. I would rather have a small collection of cool species that when they breed, that's awesome. And then I can take my time selling it. Like, I would prefer to only have about 3 or 4 carpet clutches a year. And then the rest is grab bag, some pine snakes, some rhinos, some black rats, some mad hogs, the Chinese king rats, the blue beauties, some Timor pythons, olive pythons. Like, I'd do that.
Right.
And I would enjoy that more than just having an entire incubator full of carpet clutches. And I've done that before. Right. Because eventually you just have a ton of fucking carpets. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, next one is, which species have you had regret passing on? For me, Gila monsters.
Okay.
When the zoo that I worked for closed down, they had 3 Gila monsters, 2 reticulateds and a banded. There was a male banded and then a female. It was a male banded and then a female reticulated and a female banded. I'm sorry, no, it was the other way around. The male and female were the reticulateds, and then there was another female banded. And the guy who used to work at the zoo, who owned the zoo, he's like, "Hey man, if you want them, they're yours. You're just gonna have to pay me for them." And he wanted some like couple $1,000s, stuff like that, like which would be normal for an adult trio of Gila monsters at the time. And but he's like, "But dude, you can pay me on payment plans, stuff like that. We'll work some other shit out." And I'm like, I can't do it. I really can't. And I wish I had, because they were great animals. They were well behaved animals. And he had never worked them correctly to get them to breed. He had just been doing what he thought he should be doing, and basically trying to keep them cool down like colubrids, where it's just like, I've talked to a lot of people now, and it's like, I bet you I could get Gila monsters to go.
Right.
Like, I think that'd be a cool start, and I bet you that'd be a really cool project to get into. But now I'm like, I'd have to like build a new setup, because they're not conducive for the shit that I have now. Back then, I could have totally devoted like an area for the Gila monsters and done that right. So
took over Mort's house.
Yeah, well, I mean, tried. I said that too. I'm like, how about we get Gila monsters, and then in wintertime when Mort's inside, they go over here for winter, and then in summertime when Mort's outside, the Gila monsters can have his pen. You're not allowed to have venomous lizards. I'll be careful. No, you won't.
I have tongs.
It's fine. I won't touch it. Yes, you will. Yeah, probably.
Damn it.
God damn it.
Why do you know me so well?
Why do you know me all about this shit? So, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm going to wear it down. Don't worry.
That's all. Look over your shoulder, my friend.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fine.
Clear.
We're good.
What species did I pass on? So there's a bunch of carpet stuff that I passed on in the early days that I wish I didn't, but I think the one that probably sticks out to me when I was just getting back into, I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but when I was just getting back into reptiles in the early 2000s, my dad had known a guy that had indigo snakes.
Oh my God.
And
you're a fool.
He was giving them away.
Of course he was.
Because
sell them.
He didn't know anything about like the reptile shows, right? You know what I mean? Because I mean, think about that. That's just sort of like when it was sort of coming into its heyday or whatever, you know. But he's like, "Do you want these?" And I was like, "No, I don't want them. They're not a python. What? Get out of here!"
No. What? Yeah.
I would have loved to have.
Yeah.
But who knows? You know, maybe I would be a colubrid guy.
You'd be a colubrid guy. Yeah. Weird. So. Those people are weird. I don't trust them.
but that.
Did I tell you that like I'm not feeding my false water cobra like people feed false water cobra. Like I'm not pounding them with food.
Right.
They're still growing like fucking weeds. Like
really?
Oh my God, they're getting bigger. It's like I'm like, no, please slow down.
There's only one other python that I passed on that I wish I didn't, and the pygmy bandit pythons.
Yeah.
When I got my Cape York carpets, they were sort of available, and I passed on them. And I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
So, what was the hardest lesson you learned while keeping reptiles? You can plan everything down to a motherfucking T.
Right.
And these fuckers will ruin it. Like it is
your book.
Your book.
Throw your book
meaningless.
in the trash.
It is meaningless. It is. You can do everything. You can set up and pull out these two animals that you've even hatched, and you can raise them up, going like eventually they will breed and they will produce blank. And you know what? You can do everything. They can end up being a pair, which is your first big mistake that happens. One turns out to be the wrong one. But they could do that. They can both grow with no problems, no sickness, no nothing. They can both get to breeding size around the same time, which is something else that can get fucked. Then they can go together and they can be compatible where she won't chase him out of the cage or he won't freak the fuck out. And they can still lock up and you can get eggs. And those eggs can hatch you can still not get the shit you were trying to get. Like, yeah, all those babies can actually be like, there's not a single fucking one of them.
Yeah, so true.
So there's all that can go wrong. There's so much that can. And you have to take that into account, where people tend to think that what they're getting is that they're going to take this animal, they're going to breed, and the clutch is going to come out, and they're going to have all these babies that are all worth a shit ton of money. When in actuality, one will be. And that's if you find somebody to pay you for it.
Right.
So, and that's something that is a hard lesson, is that, I bought my first room of cages on credit because I thought in the next year or so, I was going to have multiple clutches of carpet pythons, and I was going to be able to pay off all the shit. Right. That is not fucking true. Right. Like, it is. And that's just how it goes, man. I mean, yeah, I had caramel jags, but those caramel jags I didn't have 40 of them. Right. And they weren't all selling for that exact price that I thought they were. So that was the shit.
Yeah. I think similar to you. Yeah. I mean, keeping reptiles keeps you humble, because I think it's perception, right? The perception is that everybody's successful because you're looking at the internet and everybody's, sharing their clutches and sharing their successes. And, even people do share, the screw ups and things that go wrong and whatnot. Yeah. But even still, you're still seeing more of the positive rather than the negative that goes along with it. And I would say it's probably equal in your keeping, I mean, in your keeping history, right? You're going to have just as many successes as you are going to have failures.
I think I've said that, where it's like every breeding season, there is several highs followed by several gut punching lows. Yeah. Where it's like, and you just hope to God by the end of the season that the highs have outdone the lows and you have a good season. I had that one season a couple years ago where every clutch, I had a ton of slug clutches. Like, you remember, I was opening up bins and pulling females off slug eggs, and I'm like, cool. I'd have had 8 clutches this year, but fuck all. And that just happens. And you can be on freaking cloud 9 because I hatched out a brand new species. Look, this year I hatched out mad hogs. It was fucking great. And then the next week, the rhinos were due. Right. And that's when I found out all the rhino babies had died in their eggs.
Right.
So again, high, gut punching low.
Like, don't get too cocky.
Don't get too cocky. Yeah, breeding reptiles it's a roller coaster. And again, some people they're not cut for it. I mean, some people, it's just not for them. There's a lot that goes into it. And like I said, you can do everything correct, and your favorite animal could still end up dying on you.
Yeah, similar to you. So I have 2 stories that would go along with that. Similar to you, right? It's sort of like, I think that just in general, the hardest lesson that I've learned while keeping reptiles is just the breeding part of it, right? Because I think, even probably we've sort of portrayed this way as like, which is sort of why I wanted to go in real extensive in this last breeding episode, where we sort of went into some of those negative things that could come about, or the things that are not necessarily talked about as much. Like, we talk about how to get them to breed. Right. We talk about, what to look for when you're on the way. And then it's sort of like, okay, you got eggs. Life is good.
Right.
But the party's just beginning, my friend. Yeah.
Now you must hatch the egg. It never stops. There's never a moment.
Thing, right? you get that you go through those, the incubation time, whatever it is, and you're just like, an egg will go moldy or something, and just like, you're losing your shit or whatever. Or the clutch could be perfect. They hatch out.
None of them eat.
And well, even before that, right? I remember the one, I had this beautiful coastal carpet hatched out of the egg, and I opened up the egg box, and for whatever reason, it shot out of the egg, and then it was dead. And
ripped open. That's the thing.
God damn it!
I love it when people are like, "Well, when do you really think that the babies are established and you can stop worrying about them?" When they turn 4.
And even then,
when they turn 4, but even then, it's just new worrying. Like, there's new shit that you have to deal with, like breeding. Like, there's never that moment when it's like, because like you said, there's one thing after the other. There's never that moment where you're like, I have succeeded. Vindication. I am the superior. No, because you have to do this now.
Right.
Like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it never
Never
seems to.
stops. It never
And then
stops.
to your right, I remember I was like, "Oh my god, I produced an albino zebra jag. Like this is so cool." And they wouldn't fucking eat, you know? And you're just like, "Oh my god.
So, dude,
Everything to this point has been perfect.
I don't know
And
why.
here's this perfect baby, beautiful, and I can't get it to eat."
I don't know about you, but like everybody's hatched, everybody's shed, and it's time to go downstairs and feed them for the first time. I'm like walking around the house, like knocking on things. I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's get this going. Okay, it's okay if they don't eat. Like it's.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's crazy. So that definitely will teach it. And I think one of the hardest lessons for me is like learn to listen to my gut.
Yeah.
I've had experiences where I've listened to people's advice, and it's not that they're giving me the wrong advice, but they're not standing there in my reptile room with me to see what I'm seeing, and I am probably doing a poor job of explaining it and the advice I'm getting, and I sort of go with it, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out.
I would agree, and I would also say that like there have been a couple times where I'm looking at an animal and I'm like, you're not right. Something's wrong.
Right.
And you almost convince yourself that it's not.
Right.
Everything's fine. Don't go with that. Go with your gut. Go if you're looking at this animal that you've seen,
you see it every
entire
day.
Life, every day, and all of a sudden you're like, something's not right. You're correct. Now figure it out.
Right.
Like
you can tell right away.
Uh-huh.
Right? I mean,
immediately. Like it's like, oh, like there's a lot of spit on your glass. Come with me. Like, go with it. Just roll with it. Because other people would be like, I'll just wipe this off. Like, no. Keep going. Something's wrong. Something's different. Something's changed. Yeah.
And I think for me, that's sort of why the behavior aspect of the whole thing sort of comes into play. Because I think that's I think guys like Rob and Keith, their knowledge is based off of observing reptiles in captivity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hours and hours and hours of just watching reptiles in captivity and trying to figure out, not necessarily worrying about what a book says. Not that there's anything wrong with the book.
The book is a good launching point. It gets you started. Yeah.
But then you sort of have to develop your ideas of what you think. Herping helps with that, right? Because you're in the environment, you get a feel for this stuff. That's another added thing that you can sort of put in your brain to sort of like get an idea of what's what. But like, when you're in your reptile room and you're sort of observe, like, this is a perfect example. In the early days of keeping carpets in the early like 2006s or 2000 up to probably about, what would you say, 2010, we kept them a little bit different. At least this was the norm, right? It was a 90-degree hot spot.
Yep.
And it was 85-degree ambient, and you had to have humidity, and it was like, you had to have all these things.
I would be a monster if I went back in time. Like, dude, it's like, I'm like 83 hot spot, and then whatever the fucking room is. Like,
But the thing is like, and here is a point, right? I remember talking with Luke Snell, and we were sitting there, and I was like, I noticed that my carpets are all crammed up against the front of the tub. Now at this time, they were just little carpets, and they're all smashed up against the front of the tub. And when you see that, it's like, hot. Why are they all doing that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, why is
that? I found out that when Buddy was over here, I'm checking all the shit, and I'm looking up, and all the white lips are on the front of their bins. And I'm looking up at the herp stat, and it's reading like 78. And then nothing's happening. I'm like, bullshit.
Right.
Tape that the one rack where the probe is, each individual level has its own tape. That tape went bad. So all the other cages around it were close to 100-something degrees.
Wow.
And so we had to rip it apart, find the probe, which I have extra probes, so we swapped it out. So it wasn't the probe that was broken, it was the tape. So now we know, ran the probe to a different cage. Everything's now being functioned as it should be, but you gotta see those cues. Why are all these animals that love warmth and humidity up in the front of their cages?
Right.
And why is that thing up there saying 78 at 100% when everything else around it's reading 80 something?
Right. Something's not right.
Something's not right.
Right.
So you gotta be observant to that kind of shit. And dude, heat tape and bullshit like that shit is scary. That's how shit dies.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how you burn down your fucking house.
I got to be honest, man. Part of the idea of keeping reptiles with lights again.
You said you just have to worry about a bulb that goes out, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that wasn't in my brain recently. I'm like,
oh, it's the greatest.
You know, if I put these all in spotlights with timers, fucking awesome. I would just have to get a case of fucking light bulbs. Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is just off. I got these. It was a box of 6 smart plugs,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a little bit behind on the whole smart home thing.
Right.
But I've overindulged in it as of recently. I'm talking to Siri all the time. Turn on the lights, turn off the lights, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
But in this room that I'm in now, I have the lights all on these timers, and you can go in on your phone and you can set a shortcut to that timer so that you can set it to come on and off based off of the sunrise and sunset.
Damn it.
That's it's cool. The greatest thing.
That's cool.
Oh, it's so fucking awesome.
Like,
you never have to adjust for daylight savings time.
Yeah.
You never have to just, it's just like the sun goes down, the lights go off. The sun comes up,
lights go on. Yeah, you need to send me that link because I'm going to need to do that because I have that timer switch in the front of my room. I know. I know. I have the timer switch, but I want to
bring you to the promised land, my friend.
Please do. Because you know what? I have the light. Because now the problem is with having reptiles in multiple rooms is I have to go around in the beginning of the day, turning on fucking lights, and then I have to go around turning off fucking lights. And if I'm going for a week, they either are in darkness or in light the whole time.
Yeah.
So. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll send it after the.
Check that out.
I think it was 4 of them were like $40. 6 of them were like $50 or something like that.
Whatever.
But yeah, dude, it's so great.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think we got the last question.
Right? I think that's it. After that there's a nothing, but it says closing. If you would like.
Oh no, you didn't do.
Oh no, wait. Shit. Okay, if you could start your keeping reptiles experiences over, would you change anything, and what would it be? Yeah,
all roughies.
No. I change it, and I do cages and I do lights. Yeah, I do cages. I do lights for everything because that's the main reason why I haven't done a lot of shit with my guys as far as lighting and as far as like other things is because it's so hard to fucking do it when you're in it. If I could do it over, I do what Rob does: lights, red lights, stuff 100%. Like that. 100% do that. I'd feel so much better about it. And like I said, you just gotta get a case of fucking bulbs and wait for something to blow, and she'd be like, "Oops."
Change out
and the change out and then go away like it would be I would do that. So
I think
and wheels, everything goes on fucking wheels.
There you go. That's a good one.
Really bad if my house catches fire because I'm gonna be like I'm keep going back and forth grabbing pythons and heaving them out the door towards Melissa and be like, throw it in the car. Like it's just like no,
just put them in there,
just put them to the door. Like I'm going back.
Yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't get so caught up in the morph game. That would be number one. I wouldn't be worried about trying to produce the world's first of whatever to give me legitimacy or whatever. That would be that. I would get more diamond pythons.
Yeah.
That would be another one. And I think like you, I would probably keep my collection a lot smaller.
I'm getting there.
A lot smaller.
I'm getting there. It's weird because I have the 41 quart racks at the front of the room, and this whole thing with that heat tape has scared the crap out of me. And it's just like going to the point where I'm like, when was the last time these racks have been full? Maybe necessarily. Can we swap them out for some cages that go this way and go stack up like that? How many could I fit in there? Would it be kind of the same thing? Like it.
Yeah.
First, I got to do. Like I moved a bunch of the wood cages around because to make room for the new 8-footers.
Yeah.
And I found out some of the wood cages were getting a little moldy. And I'm like, really? So we're just swap those bitches out and just get some plastic ones. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. To your point, right? It's hard to turn the ship when your collection is here. You still have to care for it the way you always have, but you sort of want to change it.
Right.
And to do that, just like snap of the fingers, is kind of hard.
It is. And it's one of those things of like, Melissa and I aren't going to be in this house forever.
Right.
When we move, I intend to do it correctly this time and build the snake room before the snakes go in it. Yeah. So if I have to put them in temporary caging while I take their cages and build and put them on platforms that have wheels on it so that they're finally all on wheels, yes, that is what we will do. If I can do other things to try to get away from heat tape and other things like that that could end up killing my collection and other things like that, I probably will do it then. Yeah. Would I like to get them into their own separate building? Yes. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I think part of our thing was, though, we came up in a different time of reptile keeping where the technology wasn't necessarily advanced enough, or the knowledge of how to keep them that you see over the last, say, 4 years has really sort of like pushed ahead in a huge way.
Yeah.
Which is great, but we were from a different time, you know what I mean? It was I don't know, it was just different. So now it's sort of like, even though that's probably what we should have did all along, we didn't.
Right.
Now you sort of have to, sort of change the thing. And even like talking to Rob, it's like he dwindled down his collection, and then it sort of dwindled back up, because then you're like, what's one more snake? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's always the issue.
Like 40 snakes, and you're like, what's 41? And then next thing you know, you're at
it's 87.
Again. Yeah. You're like, what the hell? So.
Yeah, that's that. Or the thing is, like, you do what I did, and you're like, I don't need to keep any from this year. Ooh, but this one's pretty. Like, and then you're like, shit. Yeah. But yeah.
Cool. So that's the new questions. I like them,
Those
man.
are the new questions, man.
Some good stuff.
I'm thinking we might not use all of them per se each episode, because there's a lot of them.
100%.
But we'll mix and match and see what's up. So
yeah, depending on the guests, some will apply, some won't.
Some won't. So this way we can kind of see how it goes, and we got a little bit of a different thing there for everybody. So
yeah. So all right. Wow, we did go 2 hours. I thought it was going to be shorter.
Never short.
Never shorter.
What? No,
always longer.
No, it's much longer. Of course, we were rambling for the first hour and a half. It's bad true. When we're an hour into the show and you're like, well, she do the first thing. Fuck.
Right. Okay. So, yep, we're back.
Nipper can stop screaming. Yeah.
Yep. We will. We'll be back in. Hopefully. We got the Gecko podcast that's coming. We got a couple other ones that are Carpets and Coffee should be back. Well, by the time you get this, it will be back, because we're sort of doing this early. So by the time you're listening to this, hopefully we'll have an episode of Carpets and Coffee. We'll be back into that. All the other I think it's almost to where we have a podcast
per day. My God.
Every day a new podcast dropping. That's the goal. So we're getting there, and hopefully you guys appreciate the content that's coming out. We got the Boa show that's still in the works. That's sort of happening slowly over time. They'll be getting released. April has her first episode of Strictly Shorties.
Yes.
About to be dropped probably in a couple weeks. And it's Keith McPeak on the first episode, and
good choice.
Should be cool. Yep, I agree. And that should be a fun listen for sure. April's awesome, and it's cool to learn some of the history of the short tails and stuff, because even though I don't keep short tails, we have a love-hate relationship. I hate keeping them, but I love them.
I love looking at them. So we just go over to Matt's when we need a short tail.
100%. Yes,
yeah. It's a shame.
sex those little
But I love it because
viper babies.
we both made that decision. Like it is like
Yeah.
we're
We're in agreement, my
we're
friend.
both in agreement. We're like these things not for us. Matt,
Yes.
sure he can have
It's so
them.
funny how like you're either a long
But
thin-bodied snake.
Matt isn't because he's got all the
He's got
slugs.
both.
But then he's got Sanzinia and Roughies and all this other shit.
Well, it's easy to. It's well, no, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say it's easier to love those.
It's easy to love the skinnier ones. They're awesome. Yeah, all right, good point. Yeah,
but yeah, and if you're into short-tailed pythons, you probably like gaboon vipers, things like that.
Yeah.
But all right, the new calendar winners are up on the website. We are working on some
stuff,
updating some stuff on there. The calendars that I have, I think there's a couple people on the Patreon that didn't contact me back with their address. So if you didn't get a calendar and you're in the inland tier, hit me up and I'll make sure that I get one out. Otherwise, everything should be out. I know the mail has been kind of sucky. I know a lot of people got them, but there's still a few people that haven't. I got Scott Eipers back. It says unable to ship or something to Australia. Some kind of big pink message on the front of the envelope.
No, to Australia.
Like, oh no, God. I can't even put stuff in
my
Australia.
God.
Like Jesus.
They know you're trying to get it. You're trying to ship yourself over there.
Yeah, so I have to figure that out. But I think at this point I might have 5 left. So I forgot how much work that is too. Holy shit, man. Fucking mailing them and writing the ad. Oh, it's a pain in the ass. But labor of love. We're gonna have sometime probably over the next couple. I think I don't know if it's the 3rd Sunday of the month. We're gonna do the private stream.
Yep.
On the Sunday. I think I don't know. There's so much stuff going on.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go to the website, MoreliaPythonRadio.com, if you want to find out and keep up to date with what's going on. Check out our Instagram, MPR Network. If you want to get in touch with us, email is info@MoreliaPythonRadio.com. Let's see what else. If you want to support the show, a good way, if there's an episode you like, share it around. That always helps. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel where we do live streams from time to time. The Aussie Herp guys do live streams from time to time, and we do carpets and coffee there. So you can go over there and subscribe. Hopefully we'll get some more content and stuff for that going as well. We got 2 herping trips lined up, so hopefully we can get some content for that. I know Lucas has been sick for a while, but he's
been
crazy studying, but he's got some Arizona videos.
He's got all the Arizona stuff
he's
going to fix up for us, so we'll get that cooking once we can.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You can all see me freak out over trying to look for a rattlesnake without having anything on me, like without a hook. Yeah.
If you want some merch over in the Teespring store, hopefully we can add some more stuff to that this year.
I'm hoping to do that too.
Sister.
Yeah.
And then, finally there's our Patreon page.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do that, I'm thinking about putting, I know the Herp Network guys, they kind of did $1 one. I thought that was kind of an interesting
idea. Why not?
Maybe do that. So who knows? But if you want to support us there, much appreciated. Not needed. I appreciate just you listening and supporting the show. But if you want to go the extra step, that's how you do it. And that sort of helps support all the podcasts in the network. And my last thing is just USARK. Support USARK. That's all I got.
Okay. For me, we got let's see, we got Instagram is going to be rogue_reptiles, and Facebook is Rogue Reptiles. The website is rogue-reptiles.com. And of course, as far as shows go, I do have one coming up this weekend. It is the Hamburg Reptile Show. So I will not be vending. I can't do that. So, but I will be there. So if you need anything, please let me know. And then I will be vending the Oaks Reptile Show later on this month. I'm actually going to go hang out with our friend Pedro. He's got a table, and he said I could hang out with him all day. So I'm going to do that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. Other than that, that's all I got for everybody. Stuff is available on the website. If it's not on the website, it's not available. So we'll say thanks to everybody for listening. It's good to be back, and we'll catch everybody next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.